Good morning. I am Ms. Rochelle Rivera of ICCT Colleges, and for today, we're going to discuss Chapter 1, Basic Concepts in Communication. Being able to communicate effectively is one of the most important life skills. It is a process of creating and sharing ideas, information, views, facts, and feelings among the people to reach a common understanding. That's why we are here to discuss the different terms involved in communication. First one is we have purpose. When we say purpose, it is your reason, your plan, or intention of why are you communicating with other people. Is it to inform, to persuade, to express your feelings, or to imagine so that the audience will not be confused about your objective? Next one is we have communication. When we say communication, it's an exchanging of information from one place, person, or group to another. Every communication involves at least one sender, or what we call the transmitter. Of course, it should have the message or the content and your recipient or receiver. Like what we are doing right now, I am the sender or transmitter of Lesson 1, Chapter 1, Basic Concepts in Communication, and you are my student or the receiver. Let us have this one. Letter, telephone call, technology, these are what we call the medium or channel. When we say medium or channel, these are the tools that you are using in order to send, receive messages. Okay? Other examples for that are cell phone, laptop, radio, and many more. In this type of virtual learning, it is very important to prepare and practice all the medium that you are using to avoid issues affecting communication. To sum it up, when we say purposive communication, it's about writing, presenting, speaking to different purposes or various purposes. This may sound simple, but communication is actually a very complex subject which can be affected by a huge range of things. Next are the 5 skills of communication. Here, we are not just practicing or executing our speaking skills, but it's also very important to practice our listening skills, writing skills, viewing skills, and presenting skills because these are all forms of communication. Now, I would like to introduce different people who define communication in their own terms. We have Kuntz and O'Donnell. According to them, communication is an intercourse by words, letters, symbols, or messages, and it is a way that one organization member shares meaning and understanding with one another. It only means that communication is like what a teacher does in front of her student. She is the one who will explain the specific topic through words, symbols, letters, or even pictures to share meaning and understanding with one another. The next definition of purposive communication is according to Newman and Sommer. According to them, communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by 2 or more persons. Here, communication needs the involvement of the other people to discuss a specific topic. It's like brainstorming or clustering wherein each member must share their opinions based on the topic. Last one is we have the definition of Alan Lewis A. According to him, communication is a sum of all the things a person does when he wants to create understanding in the minds of the other. It involves a systematic and continuous process of telling and understanding. It only means that communication is a continuous process like learning. Okay? We use communication in our day-to-day life. So it is very important that you understand first your message before transmitting it with other people. Let us now proceed to the 2 types of verbal communication. We have verbal and non-verbal communication. When we say verbal, it's the ability to communicate using words. Okay, these are the element of communication wherein you are about to choose the words and your receiver will be the one who heard or interpreted that specific word or term. When we say nonverbal, it's the ability to communicate without using words. Instead, we just use our body gestures, movement, facial expressions, etc. Okay, so these are the two types of communication. Again, we have verbal and non-verbal communication. Let us now discuss the different types of verbal communication. The first one is emotive communication. It is the deliberate choice of words to elicit emotion to others. Emotive language class is a word choice that is used to evoke emotion. It possesses a natural persuasiveness and can be dramatic and purposeful or forceful when trying to convince others of their views. It is also used in everyday interaction as well. For example, an innocent bystander was murdered in cold blood in downtown Chicago. The word innocent and murdered are the uses of emotive language. The beauty queen was raped. Our emotive word there is rape. Okay? So in this particular example, the emotive words do not need to be used to communicate a fact. However, this diction creates an emotional response in the audience. That is what we call the emotive communication. Next one is we have evasive. When we say evasive communication, it is a language that is used to avoid situation. It is the least effective type of communication, but then people occasionally use it to save time. For example, I asked you about your grade in mathematics, and then you replied, "You know what, mom? I'm hungry. Can I eat first?" That shows evasive communication because you are avoiding my question. You are avoiding a particular topic because you are not comfortable to talk about. Next one is we have jargon communication. When we say jargon communication, it is a language used by personnel in a particular field, meaning to say, these are the terms being used by group of profession. Most jargon consists of unfamiliar terms, abstract words, and abbreviations. For example, the vividness. When we say vividness, teachers' awareness of what is going on in all parts of the classroom at all times. Okay? Meaning to say, it is not easy for us to instantly know the definition or meaning of that word vividness because we are not on the same field or profession. Next one is we have argot communication. When we say argot communication, it's a language used to discuss ideas, right? Or various groups. Okay, example for that, bystander, prisoners, or schoolmates. Argot communication is a special or secret word used by two or more people. Okay, they tend to hide the meaning of a particular word. That's what we call the argot communication. Next one is we have abstract communication. It's a language used to discuss ideas. When we say abstract communication, you are describing or explaining a specific topic detail by detail. While when we say overly abstract communication, it leaves too much room for interpretation and hide details from others. There is a specific area on the content or topic that you tend to hide the definition. You let your student or you let that person to interpret or to know the meaning or definition of that specific area or topic in the lesson. Okay, so that is what we call the overly abstract communication. Let us now proceed to the 5 nonverbal behaviors. So the first one is we have vocalics. When we say vocalics, it is something to do with your tone of voice, intonation, or volume. Okay, so it's very important that you know how to deliver your message, not just about the content or message. You have to also be careful with how you deliver, how high, how low, okay, you deliver your message. Vocalics, again, it is something to do with your tone. Next one is we have proxemics. Okay, so when we say proxemics class, it has something to do with the distance, okay, or space. It's very important that you also consider the space in communication because it sends something or it sends message. For example, your position in life or the closeness that you have with this person. For example, if you are this too close, maybe I can conclude that you are friends or you are relatives or connected with each other. But then when the distance is this far, it sends something as well. It says that maybe he is your boss or you are just a secretary, something like that. So that is what we call the proxemics. Next one is we have chronemics. Okay, so when we say chronemics class, it is the study of the role of time in communication. For example, in most countries, it would a norm for a boss to be late for a meeting, but not for the subordinates. Okay, that is what we call chronemics or role of time in communication. Next one is we have the artifacts. When we say artifacts, these refer to the things a person owns, use, wear in order to convey a message about his or her personality. For example, if you see a lady on a formal attire, we can conclude that that lady is working on a company. Okay? If the person wears gold or jewelry, also has an earnest bag, we can conclude that this person is rich. And that is an example of artifacts. Let us now proceed to the movement. Obviously, when we say movement, it is something to do with your gestures, facial expressions, hand movements. Okay? That is what we call movement. Let us now proceed to the key terms that you need to remember in Chapter 1, Basic Concepts. We have sender, receiver, message, medium, and feedback. Again, when we say sender, it's the communicator or source of the message. Okay, so as of this moment, I am the sender or the transmitter of our lesson, and you are my receiver. Because when we say receiver, he or she is the one who received the information, decode or interpret the emotion or the information. Next one is we have the message. Okay, when we say message, it's the content of information. So for today, our message is about Chapter 1, Basic Concepts in Communication. We do also have medium, just like what we've discussed earlier. When we say medium, these are the means, no, or tools that you are using in order to receive or transmit the message. When we say feedback, it determines if the message has been successfully transmitted, received, and understood. Okay, so these are the terms that you need to remember in Chapter 1, Basic Concepts in Communication. Lastly, we have the 6 C's of communication according to Herbert and Heidelbrand and Jane Thomas. Okay, we have completeness, conciseness, consideration, correctness, clarity, and courtesy. Let us first discuss completeness. When we say completeness, it should convey all facts required by the audience. A complete communication always gives additional information whereas required, meaning to say, completeness, it answers all the questions of the audience or the student. Okay, there is no room for further interpretation because he or she already understand the lesson. That is what we call completeness in communication. Next one is we have conciseness. When we say conciseness, it provides short and essential message in limited words to audience. Okay, these are the relevant statements. We are avoiding the redundancy here and conciseness. So you have to be direct to the point. Consideration. When we say consideration, of course, you have to listen to the opinions of the others. Okay, you just need to avoid I. Okay, you also have to consider us, we pronoun. Next one is we have the correctness. Okay, correctness is very important when you are having a conversation because when we say correctness, it checks the precision and accurateness of facts and figures used in the message. Okay, so you have to be careful with the words or language that you are using in conversation. It should contain facts. Next one is clarity. Okay, when we say clarity, it implies emphasizing on a specific message or goal at a time. Complete clarity of thoughts and ideas enhances the meaning of the message. So it's very important that you know your objective first before you communicate with other people or before you share your ideas with other people. Okay? Is it to inform, to persuade, to share your feelings so that the audience will not be confused about your real intention? Next one, the last one is courtesy. When we say courtesy class, It is you are being sincere or tactful, thoughtful, and appreciative. Okay, you omit expressions that will irritate, hurt, or belittle someone. So it's very important that you respect, you accept the opinion of the other because that shows courtesy in communication. Okay, and that's the end of our lesson for chapter 1, basic concepts in communication. I hope that you learned something. See you on our next video. Bye.
For more ICCT College's video updates, please subscribe and click the notification button.